Hey everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello, and today I want to talk a little bit about this book that I recently read called Essentialism. And it's actually probably been 3 months or so since I've read it, but I really remember loving it, so much so that I wrote an email to my list about it and just the concepts of it. I mean, a lot of it is stuff that you know or have heard before, but there's just so many quotes in the way that it's written. It really hits you in a certain way. So maybe spoiler alert, but I do want to kind of look through some of the stuff that I highlighted here for you in this episode. But even if I give you some of the takeaways, I recommend that you read it. And if you look at the cover, it's cool because it shows like scattered thoughts and wrinkled lines up to circling what is actually essential, what actually matters. So this story starts off with someone whose stress was going up and the quality of work was going down. He was saying yes to too many things. And then his mentor was advising him to only do the things that he deemed essential and ignore everything else that was asked of him. And people seemed to be disappointed at first, but they respected his honesty. But he found that in that space, he found creative freedom. He began to generate tremendous momentum towards accomplishing the things that were truly vital. And so that brings you the basic value proposition of essentialism. Only once you give yourself permission to stop trying to do it all, to stop saying yes to everyone, can you make your highest contribution towards the things that really matter. And I'm just reading again some of the text that I've actually gone through and highlighted in this book. If you see, sorry, I'm trying to get this in front of the camera if you're watching on YouTube. I have highlighted text with the key takeaways. And honestly, like I said, go get this book and read it yourself. But I'm going to be covering a few things and ideas from this book in this episode. If you want to read the book, I still recommend that you stick around just to get like a quick cliff notes because you can apply some of the stuff today. It's still worth getting the book and reading it, even if you're listening to this episode. So less but better. I love that. Less but better. It's about pausing constantly to ask, am I investing in the right activities? So many times we say yes to something without thinking about it. We think that it's just what we have to do, especially when you work at a day job. That was my problem. I said yes to everything, just so I wanted to help. Where I overcommitted to too many things. I said yes to too many different managers and projects. And then I underdelivered on all of them because I couldn't make it all happen. And it's not that I couldn't do it. Like there's a quote that says you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So remember that. Less is more. Stay focused. The way of the essentialist means living by design. It's a disciplined, systemic approach for determining where our highest point of contribution lies. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. That is an amazing quote here in the book, nice and big font. So if you're not setting goals, if you're not identifying what's important to you, where do you want to spend your time, how do you want your schedule to look like, other people will fill up your calendar and take your time up doing the things that they want you to do. So really, really take this stuff to heart. This is very important. Wow. I remember this story too. I guess I don't want to give that away. That's worth reading yourself. And then we become distracted from what would otherwise be our highest level of contribution. They keep going back to that contribution. There's also social pressure. Social pressure is huge. And here is how an essentialist would approach that closet. Oh, okay. Here's what it's talking about in terms of the closet. Our lives get cluttered and well-intended with commitments and activities that we said yes to that pile up. So the first step would be to explore and evaluate and ask yourself, will this activity or effort make the highest possible contribution toward my goal? The second step would be to eliminate. A lot of things you don't have to do, you can say no to. You still have to actively eliminate the things that do not contribute to that highest contribution that you're looking to make. The third step is to execute. So if you want your closet to stay tidy, you need a regular routine for organizing it. I love that closet analogy. You need a system to make executing your intentions as effortless as possible. And then the next step, there's different sections here. So there's a roadmap, but basically what this book is talking about is focusing on less. Less is more. Another image on here shows the disciplined pursuit of less. First, you explore. Second, you eliminate. And third, you execute. So you're starting to quickly see, just as I'm reading through the highlighted stuff, how do you focus on what is truly important? And of course, that requires you actually defining what's important. which I've done with my scorecard. I've taken the time to find the things that I think matter most and that I want to spend the most time on. Self-development, connecting with people, getting coffee or lunch, doing Zoom calls and podcast interviews. Those are the things that either move the needle for me in my business in terms of creating relationships and starting conversations, or they give me energy. I love just talking to people. I had a massage earlier today too. I took the day off, got a massage, and I went to iFly as of the time of this recording. And I talked to my massage therapist for like an hour. And hey, I'm the guy who doesn't have a gender preference. I'm like, whoever's available, let me just go with them. And the guy that I was paired up with today, he actually was very fun to talk to. Like, he was communicative, he was intelligent. We had awesome conversation about a variety of topics of how the US is a relatively new country if you compare it to a lot of other places that have been around. And so we're trying to figure out a lot of stuff. Things are crazy, but it's still a great place to live. We talked about all kinds of things, and we were talking about some funny video he told me to watch where somebody like farted in court, and like his lawyer like looked at him real quick and like it was audible and everybody heard. And so I was just cracking up during this massage. But in any case, I mean, I enjoyed that conversation so much during that 1 hour massage session that I was like, dude, if you wouldn't mind like giving me your number or email, I'd love to stay in touch. And honestly, maybe we can do a Zoom call, stay in touch, or even I'd love to interview you on my podcast. So I was like, we could talk about anything, because he just seemed like he was really good at articulating his thoughts and really interesting person. We talked about jazz music and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's just something I love to do, connect with people, right? And so I've prioritized those things in my life, and I left my calendar blank intentionally for Friday so I can do fun things like connect with this massage therapist and connect with the iFly instructor. I had this cool instructor I had never met before, and we talked and we caught up, and I learned a lot of new things today. And I really just enjoyed getting to know a random new person, talking to them a little bit about something that I want to improve, whether it be like the kinks in my neck on the massage or my elevation when I'm flying inside of the tunnel at iFly. So Essentialism is a really great book. I highly recommend you check it out. I'm just going to go through some of these quotes that I see that are really on big pages in bold font. A non-essentialist thinks almost everything is essential. An essentialist thinks almost everything is non-essential. So think about that. Really, truly, most things that we do are really not essential and pretty insignificant. I know it sounds harsh, but it's true. So we really need to focus on what is actually important. And let's see if there's any other cool quotes here for me to read. Play doesn't just help us to explore what is essential. It is essential in and of itself. People who actually engage in play are able to reset and recharge. And that's what I did today. I just spent time in play, and I feel recharged and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to hit the ground running tomorrow and get a bunch of stuff done for my business. And right now here, I'm actually recording 2 podcasts on my quote unquote day off because I'm feeling so energized. Here's another quote. Our highest priority is to protect our ability to prioritize. That's powerful stuff. And I will drop one more nugget here for you. One more quote, if I can find a good one here. 1 second. An essentialist produces more, brings forth more by removing more instead of doing more. Man, I needed this reminder because it's so easy for us to continue to put more and more things on our calendar, thinking that doing more and pushing more content out, making more posts, making more connections, having more business connections and lunches. The more you do, sure, it's a numbers game at some point. You're kind of making the needle move, but at the same time, you're not going deep on any of those relationships. You're not going deep on any of those particular tasks. And again, that quote, Jack of all trades, master of none. If you're dividing your time and attention between so many different people and items on your list, none of them are going to go that deep or go that far, because chances are you're only doing a little bit for each person or for each item that you're focusing on. So imagine if you got really deep in friendship with 3 people that you became best friends, you did a bunch of stuff with, and you were able to know everything about each other and lean on each other for referrals and connections and introductions in their network. That'll go way further than meeting 30 people who you talk to for 5 minutes who will throw your business card in the trash and never get back to you. So that's another way of looking at it. So Essentialism by Greg McKeown. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I highly recommend you check that book out. Probably one of my favorite reads in 2020. Right now, the next book that I'm reading is Principles by Ray Dalio. That's another great book, like 540 pages or something like that. But I'm just constantly diving into new books and new content. And believe it or not, I don't even read 3-4 hours a day or anything crazy like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. I read 20 or 30 minutes every morning, most mornings. And honestly, sometimes it's okay to miss days. I don't think I read this morning because I got caught up in the work, and I had a mastermind club to review a book that we are reading together, Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk. So to be completely honest, I don't even think I did my reading this morning, and that's okay because I can do that today, get my 20 pages in. And if I read 25, great. If I read 15, fine. If I read 5, that's okay too. I've logged days where I've only read 5 pages, and that's better than reading 0. So in any case, that's all I have for you on this episode. If you have questions, reach out. Please leave me a review if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars would be great. That's the best way to show me that you're getting value from this and let me know what exactly you want to hear next. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, go and subscribe over there as well. You'll kind of see the videos, and I'm trying to throw some better content and even some vlogs so you can see some day in the life type of stuff. So with that being said, I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.